Hey guys, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talking about the OOP programming in Python. OOP is a design philosophy. It stands for Object-Oriented Programming. Object-oriented programming uses a different set of programming languages than older procedural language like C, Pascal, etc. Everything in object-oriented programming is grouped as self-suitable objects, where you can see that why we use object-oriented programming. If you describe your code in a real life, so object-oriented programming is easier to use. You will get more manageable your code with the help of object-oriented programming. With object-oriented programming, it is easy to reuse your previously written code. Every bigger real-life project will be written in object-oriented programming. This is a real-life example of the object-oriented programming where you just simply write a class, then you have to write the object of the class. Let's suppose the class here is vehicle, and then here we have, let's suppose ship is also a vehicle right here, and the car and the bicycles are also vehicle right here. Here you can see that this is a wheel vehicle, and this is, you can say that, a water vehicle. Here you can see that we have the several more categories of a vehicle right here. Like let's suppose this is a bicycle and this is a car right here. We will learn about further the classes and the object in this lecture. As you can see that object in the Python is a representation of a person, a place, a bank account, a car, or any item that the program should handle. Like you can see that here we have the vehicle, then here vehicle here is a class, then we have the different objects right here where we have the wheel vehicle, then we have the ship as directory, and then you have to see that this is just a bicycle and this is the two-door car or four-door car right here. An object can be considered a thing that can perform a set of related activities. The set of activities that the object performs defines the object's behavior. For example, the hand object can grip something, or a student's object can give their name or address. In a pure object-oriented term, an object is an instance of a class. Like you can see here that we have taken example of a taxi right here, where you can see that we just set two components right here. We have the data and the behavior. So data is an attributes. You can see here we just simply define the attributes right here, or in the behavior we just simply define the method right here. How? You can see that let's suppose we have the class here is vehicle, and you can see here that we have an objects right here where we set an object of the driver name, on duty, number passenger, and the cities right here. You can see here this is just an attributes or a data right here, and this is an objects method right here where you can see that this is a pickup passenger, then the drop off passenger right here, then the set driver name, and you have to get your driver name. Here you can see that how you can write your class. Firstly, you have to write a class keyword right here. So this is a class keyword. Then you have to write your class name and end your class with a semicolon. Here you can see that this is just an comments, and here we have the method here. So I just simply create a constructor right here with the help of init method, and these are the self parameters. So this is a self parameter. Then you have to write your driver name, on duty, and cities as the parameters, and you have to get all of these attributes right here. These are called object variables. Here you can see that when we didn't have any of the object oriented programming, so how our code work in a procedural programming language? You just simply create your variables as the global, and then you have to provide your variables value. Let's suppose I, which is equal to 0, and you just set this value as the global, and then you have to write your functions, and then you have to set your local variables right here. But in object oriented program, you just simply create a class, provide your data right here, and then you have to create your function, and then with the help of objects you have to access the classes and the functions right here. The main concept in the object oriented programming here is the code reusability. Here you can see that we have the class which is car. This is our class. Then you can create a constructor of the class, as you can see here in this example where you just set a init method. So this is a constructor of the class here. So you can see here that we have the class. This is a real life example. Then the car is built into the factory, and what is the color of the car? So car here is just our template. Then this is our constructor right here, which is a factory, and the color here is an object right here. Hope so you understand now the architecture of the classes, constructor, and the object right here. Here you can see that the init method. Init is a special method in a Python classes, and the init method is the constructor method for a classes, where you can see that init method is called whenever an object of the classes is construct. Let's just see, you have to write your object, then you have to create the init method for it, and then you have to access all of the attributes and behavior of your methods with the help of this init method. Here you can see that like with the help of that init method we have to access all of these data, like our old example when we are studying about the classes. Here some of the key concept of the object oriented programming, where you will learn about the objects, classes, abstractions, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphisms, and method overloading. Where you will see that abstraction. The first main concept of the object oriented programming here is the abstraction, where you can see that a real life example of a book. If a book is closed, so you cannot read any of the data or any of the information from the book. This is called abstraction, where you can hide the information or hide the data from the user. Same is a case like encapsulation right here, where you will learn about the real life example of the ATM, where you just simply insert your card first, then you have to write your PIN number, then you have to simply set the withdraw amount and you will get the cash right here. Same is a case like you just simply set, they will show you a user interface and they will hide the existing information that how much money is available in ATM. Here you can see that in a procedural language where you can simply set the variables or a data, and then you have to get these data with the help of functions. But in an object-oriented programming you have to set your data in the classes, and then you have to create your method and get your data with it. This is an example of encapsulation right here, where encapsulation will simply show you the user interface just like an ATM, like how many amount you want to withdraw, and they will hide the existing information that how many or how much money is available into the ATM and how many user can withdraw that money. So this is just an encapsulation right here, which is showing you the needed information and which will hide the information from the user. Here you can see that another example of a main concept of the object-oriented programming here is polymorphism, where the polymorphisms is derived from a Greek language, where poly means many and morphism means forms. As you can see this example where a person, if a person is in a shopping mall, so he will behave like a customer right here. If he is in family or he is in house, so he will behave like an parent or he will behave like a dad or a son. If he is in office, so he will behave like an employee. If he is in a school, so you can see here he is behave like a student. So as you can see here that one person have many forms. This is called polymorphism, where you have to write simply one thing and which have the many forms. Then we have learn about the core concept of the inheritance. Inheritance means that you have to simply derive some of the attributes or some of the functionality from your parent class, where you can see that this is a real life example where you have parents and you can get like a eyes color from your parent, then hair color from your parent, or height from your parent. This is called inheritance. One another example right here, which is you can see here that where the inheritance is used right here. Like we have the vehicle right here, which have numbers of wheel, like colors, fuel and speed. So fuel is also used in a bus, truck, car and motorbike. Same as a case like color is also used right here. So this is a technique of inheritance right here. So I will tell you the object oriented concept right here, where you can see that this vehicle right here is a class. Then you have to simply provide your data right here, and you have to simply provide your method right here. You have to start your bus as well, you have to start your truck as well, and you have to start your car and motorcycle as well. Then you have to give accelerate and brake as well. So these are the core or the same functionality which is also used in all type of vehicles. Then here you can see that a polymorphisms concept right here, where you can see that this is a vehicle, then some of them are the transport vehicle, some of them are the passenger vehicle. Then you have see that inside the transport vehicle you have van, truck, then inside this passenger vehicle you have car and bike. So this is the concept of polymorphisms, which have you can see that we have one vehicle which have many forms like passenger and transport. Hope so you understand now. Now here you can see that this is the concept of method overloading, which means that firstly we have learned about the overloading method, and then you have seen that overriding method, where overloading means that here you can see that we have a data which is an integer type A. Then same data we are using in a function fun right here, which is integer A again. You can see here this is the method overloading, which is you can see that void function, then void function again and void function again with the different types of attributes right here. This is called method overloading. What is the overriding here? Let us see that we have some kind of base class here, then we have the derived class right here. Inside the base class we have the function name here, which is void fun, and attributes right here, which is integer A. Same function name I am just create right here inside the derived class with the same attribute. This is called method overriding. Thanks for watching this lecture. If you have any question regarding to this lecture, please let me know, and thanks for watching.